555 Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Welcome in. If you've been listening to the radio station today, you know we are live here at Deer Creek for the third annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic. And of course, if you want to bid on those terrific auction items, not auto items, auction items, go to walkoffcharities.com. There are over 70 items. All bidding is done online in the auction. And today, 4 p.m., Taylor. So I vividly remember a year ago, I was trying to bid on some concert tickets. I told you all about this last week. And I thought I had them, and then someone got me at the very last second. And we were on air, so it's a little difficult.
And some people will do that. They know the system, and they'll wait, and they'll be like, 1 minute left.
Correct.
Here we go.
Yeah. So make sure you get your bids in. Of course, it goes to a great cause, Walk-Off Charities. We'll have Frank on in a few minutes and talk all about the charity, how it started in 2017, all of the different ways that it's helping kids in underserved areas here in Jacksonville, and I'm so proud of him and all the work that the entire staff has done. All right, Taylor, so I'm fresh off of the practice field, Jaguars OTA number 7, the third time that media could attend, and I'll just give you a few observations that I have. Trevor Lawrence is going to change the narrative surrounding Jacksonville, the Jaguars franchise, the trajectory of this team. Watching him in these OTAs and comparing it to the other times that I've seen him, he looks so relaxed. He looks in charge. He and Press Taylor will talk to each other right before the play is called, or that's how they get the play call called in, right before he goes to talk with the offense and give them the play call. In other years, he looked like it might have not been overwhelming. I'm not going to say that. But he just looked like there was a lot going on. Now it seems like he's just in charge of this offense, and it's really good to see. And whenever he gets that contract extension, we've talked about it ad nauseum on this program, people will say he doesn't deserve it. He absolutely deserves it. Keep him healthy. Yeah. And he's going to change the narrative surrounding the Jaguars franchise.
Yeah, and I think that it's the time that this conversation should start flipping to that. And at some point, I was thinking about this over the weekend, and it's time to stop talking about 2021 and what held him back and what the issues were surrounding. It's time to move on. That was 3 years ago now. We've seen Trevor develop as a person, develop as a leader, develop as a teammate, develop as a football player, and now it's time to look at this guy as a leader of the team and somebody who is in the organization in general, because I think we've made the comments of there were moments last year where we really started to see him. We saw a little bit of fireness start to come out in Trevor, and those were the moments to me that I felt like we are finally getting this, and not saying he was a bad leader. He's not this super rah-rah guy, but we started seeing a little bit more out of that in moments last year, and then unfortunately the way things happened at the end, it kind of trickled away, or maybe we just weren't seeing it as much. He wasn't practicing during the week, so that obviously affects certain things that are happening too. But at this point, you are looking at, and especially you're having contract talks, and you're talking about giving this guy a lot of money. So it is time to really start seeing that side of Trevor. So I haven't been out to OTAs, but I'm glad that's what we're hearing out of this, is because it seems like, yes, we want the product on the football field, but you also want the guy where you feel like the locker room will rally around him. And I have no doubt they're at that point right now.
A few other takeaways, in addition, of course, to Trevor Lawrence, is going to be a guy that I think in generations from now, everyone points back. Like, Mark Brunell was awesome, and he did so much, and David Garrard was great, and Blake Bortles had his moments, right? But they're going to one day look back and be like, but it was Trevor Lawrence who changed it from being the same old Jaguars to being a team that is revered almost as much as the Chiefs. And I'm not saying they're there yet, but I think that's a trajectory that he's on. Devin Lloyd, I know I've seen other media reporting how good he looks. Today was my first time really, and I'm only out there for a limited time because, of course, we have the show, and Mia's downtown, so she'll come back here with her observations also and an interview with Andrew Wingard, the safety and special teams guru. So that'll be a lot of fun because, you know, he was always quite the character. Yeah. But Devin Lloyd, I've seen other people talk about it. Today was the first day that I got to see him up close, and man, like I had to do a double take. Like, is that number 33? That's Devin Lloyd? He looks like he spent the offseason not necessarily like just lifting. I don't mean that, but he's lean. He looks huge, so he definitely did put in some time lifting, which is great to see as he's going into his third year. Gabe Davis, it was our first time to be able to see him out there today, really working in some of the team portion, and he looks the part. Like, I understand why the Jaguars are very excited about Gabe Davis joining this offense. Travis Etienne looks great.
Yeah.
And, of course, my guy, Brian Thomas Jr., always fun to watch him. He had one drill or one time in kind of like the 7-on-7, it was Brian Thomas Jr. going up against DeAndre Prince. And, again, they're not actually being physical by any means. But it was fun to see the rookies go after it. Brian Thomas Jr. just feels like he, like, floats on air. Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like to me. And so excited about this team as it moves forward because, like you said, it's time to stop looking back.
Yeah, and I think they're in a good spot of they have some of these guys now that have worked together for the last few years, and this is obviously Trevor Lawrence too, when we talk about how this is Trevor Lawrence's offense and we really feel like he's taking reins of it. But I do think now getting some of these other guys when it comes to the secondary with Cisco and Campbell, and the more you're working together, obviously, you start to form this bond. And there's a good combination of that, but then the additions that they made this offseason, I think, are just the number one, the positions that you were kind of looking at already,
right.
but all the position groups, but also people that seem to already mesh in perfectly with what the Jags had been building. And we've talked a ton about the identity and finding the identity and what is that. And I think we'll find out pretty quickly with this group because of the combination and because of the way and bringing in Ryan Nielsen and the way that everything seems like very quickly it's fitting together like a puzzle piece. And there were just those moments last year, and we talked about injuries, but some of those problems where that they didn't have the depth behind those injuries to make up for anything. And I do feel like they're in a better position even there. You don't want any injuries, but if they were to happen, I think we would be a little more comfortable in certain areas of what to do if something like that ended up happening at some point during the season. So, and that's on the offensive line. That's the secondary. I'm sure we still have the talks, and we will talk a ton about the cornerbacks and who's playing where and how much time they're getting. And that's just going to be a conversation I think we'll have even throughout the season, because we at this point don't know who is going to take that big step up and who is going to be the one who surprises us. And it'll be fun to see that kind of develop and unravel as we get closer to the season.
Yes, certainly. And Tyson Campbell's another guy that seeing him up close and personal today, also excited to see what this season can be for him. And so, like I said, we are live here at Deer Creek Golf Country Club. It is the third annual Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic. Of course, it's a sellout. Every year has been a sellout. The auction online at walkoffcharities.com. And the founder joins us now, Mr. Frank Frangie. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Oh, man,
I know this is your third show.
It is, but that's okay. I appreciate you guys coming out. I really do. I appreciate everyone from the station. I tell Steve this, too. I appreciate Steve Griffin and everyone at 1010 making walk-off so important at 1010. So 1010 has been invested from day one. So great to have you guys out. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah,
it is.
And this is our first time as Helmets and Heels getting to be out
Yes.
there.
That's right. That's
is.
exactly right. So we're glad you're here.
I love it. So, Frank, we've talked a ton about walk-off charities, as we should. It's been amazing from the start to kind of where they are now, and everything you've done is incredible. And I'm seeing people constantly email us, message us, how do I get involved in this? So for the people who maybe don't know, what are their opportunities where they can get involved? A ton of events, but also other ways.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that, Taylor. I think, number one, go to walkoffcharities.com. It tells you everything that we do, and there's a contact information sheet there, or a contact information portal there, and just go to info and say here's my question, whether it's what you do, can you help my child, can I volunteer, can I help the cause, and the answers are there. And if not, we'll get back to you. So there's a lot of opportunities. Realistically, we've got we're always growing, Taylor. So there'll be more opportunities in 2 months than there are today.
Yeah.
We're growing leagues. What we're trying to do is grow our geography. We've been able to really dent the inner city, the northwest quadrant, the downtown area. We've added some areas of the west side. We've added some areas of the south side and some underserved areas. We have other areas we got to reach. We have to reach the beaches. We haven't gone there yet. There's other areas on the north side that we haven't reached, north side proper. We're going to start, we hope, in 2025. There's some tough areas in St. Augustine and St. Johns County that are underserved, and we want to help them. So we're trying to grow our geography. I think that's probably the next step. But anybody that wants to help, go on to info, and we'll help you. We'll find a way for you to help us for sure.
I love being on this show, Frank, but obviously am appreciative of the many years, 7 years that I spent on your show. The problem with Helmets and Heels is it now conflicts with Walk Off Charities clinics.
Yeah.
So I need to know who has taken over the duties.
The hot dog.
Hot dog lady?
Yes.
Well, I would tell you this.
Did they have a
Glizzy
fight?
lady.
Did they fight for it? Yeah, I was never
the
a
bottom-
Glizzy lady. That would have been fine by
Well,
me.
let me just go ahead and say it now. Walk Off has never been the same since we've lost the hot dog lady. That is quite the quite
really
the blow.
is a bummer.
For people that don't know, Lauren was critically involved in the starting of Walk Off and has been ever since we started doing it. Another story that people don't know is well before Taylor worked here full time, she and her grandparents came to our first ever home run derby. Remember the first pitch?
That was a blast.
And I can remember you and your grandparents came before you were working with us at 1010XL. But Lauren, you've been a big part of this walk-off thing, and I mean that very sincerely. Lauren has done whatever we want. I can remember one time we had a planning meeting. We had a planning meeting for one of our events, maybe the first
It
pitch.
was a breakfast for the very first.
It was a breakfast
pitch,
at Old
yeah.
Mimi. Remember Mimi's Cafe? It's something
The
else now.
town center, yeah.
And so we had a breakfast, and Taylor Lauren had this surgery, some
Sinus surgery.
awful sinus surgery. Her nose was bleeding, and she couldn't breathe, and it was just awful. Her eyes are it is true, and her eyes are watering. And we have the meeting at like 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and she had surgery was like the day before, maybe.
Friday morning.
The surgery was like Friday morning.
Yeah.
So I said, "I tell you what, take a few weeks out. Walk off's going to be fine." Lauren's the first one there. Saturday morning, her eyes are swollen, and I'm thinking, why are you here? Well, you needed us here. So you've been a big part of this, Lauren, and I appreciate that very much.
I had forgotten about that, but yeah, it was the first pitch was so much fun,
Yeah.
and obviously
Your brain probably blacked that part out.
Yeah, it probably did.
charities. Well, I wasn't on any medication, so I was
Right.
fine. I was fine to drive. But charities evolve, and that's one thing that I'm so proud of you and the staff, because when we first started this, when you first had the idea, Frank, because of a plumber coming over to your house and said his kids couldn't afford to play baseball, and that's what kind of ignited the idea for you. When we started it back then, there was no staff. It was just people willing to help, and that's, I think, one of the beautiful parts about the charity is it took a village of people, of volunteers at the beginning, but now it's grown to where you can affect, like you were saying, kids all over the First Coast.
Yeah, and we hope we do. The staff has grown. You're right. The staff, we started, it was me, my wife. It was my friends. Lauren got stuck in that group, unfortunately. She's one of my friends. My friends. It was bad to be Frank's friend back then, but we really did. A lot of people contributed, and now we have grown our staff. We have 4 or 5 full timers. We got about another 6 or 7 part timers. Our budget's tripled because of the people playing in this golf tournament, because of donors in town, because of this new ballpark that the city of Jacksonville was so kind to partner with us, and it's become a revenue stream for us. And people ask, you got this beautiful ballpark at Fort Family Park in the Bregan Baseball Complex. Our friend Pedro Bregan gave us a very big check to build grandstands and bullpens and whatnot. How does that connect to walk-off? Well, every travel team that plays there, every college league team that plays there, they play there now. Every men's league team that plays there, every American Legion team that plays there, every game that's there, whether it's high school games where we charge admission, whether it's these summer league games where we just take concessions, whether it's people renting those fields, every dollar that goes into that ballpark goes to kids on the north side, downtown, the west side, kids in underserved areas, and that's the revenue stream. And it's been a big part of what we've done. So we're really proud of all of that, and we've affected. I said this today. We've affected over 10,000 kids now, and that's between clinics, leagues, teams. We now have our own sort of travel team of all minority kids, underserved kids, a scout, and you know what? They're all out here today, and they hold their own, and they've done a good job. I tell people before they go to these tournaments. These tournaments are expensive now, and they're kids in the suburban areas these tournaments, these teams are expensive. The first time our kids played last year, the first 3 batters in the opposing, it was in a tournament in Fort Myers, a perfect game tournament in Fort Myers. The first 3 batters we faced on the opposing team, LSU commit, Florida commit, Miami commit.
Wow.
And LSU in Florida, for people who don't
Right.
played for the championship.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the first 3 batters our guys faced. Now, we didn't win that game. We took some lumps, but our kids held their own, too.
They battled.
Yeah.
And so, excuse me, so, yeah, that's a big part of what we're doing, and we're very proud of where it's gone, and we're affecting little kids, and hopefully one day every kid in Jacksonville, there will never be a kid in Jacksonville who would like to play on a Little League team but can't do it because of money. That's kind of the idea.
Well, Frank, you can't get away from my family because you work with me daily
Yeah.
at 1010,
Yeah.
and then my cousin Jared is a part of the walk-off too. But another thing, and we're baseball people. We love baseball, even though it frustrates us very much. But both my
Depending on
brothers,
their team.
yes, both of my brothers, Frank, you know this, both of them played baseball growing up, and so we saw, you see how much money, time, Even travel, being able to get to and from these things is difficult for a lot of kids. So just the importance of baseball in general and what it teaches kids, it goes beyond what is on the baseball field.
Yeah, it does, Taylor. And I'm going to give you two answers to that. The first answer is to your specific question: what do you gain from being on a team? You learn about teamwork. You learn about sacrifice. You learn about commitment. You may not want to go to the game or practice, but you don't want to let your teammates down. You may have to bunt a runner over, so he gets to score the run. You make the out, but you're helping him. You may have to pick up that left fielder who dropped the fly ball and it feels terrible, and he needs someone to come tell him, hey, it'll be okay. Those things don't happen when you're not on a team. Those are things. Counting on your team, relying on your teammate, being a teammate your teammate can rely on. Team sports means so much. There's also inclusion, Taylor. I told this to Mike, and this is the story I tell all the time. We're not trying to find the next major leaguer. If we do, that's fine. What we're trying to do is keep a third grader from sitting in class watching another third grader wear their jersey because it's wear your uniform to school week and talk about the big hit they had over the weekend, and the kid next to him can't do it because he didn't have the money to buy that jersey and to play on that team. So we're trying to change this. So that's a very big part of it, and that's a very, very big part of how team matters. The other part is inclusion. We want to make sure everybody is included. You should never feel excluded, and nobody should ever feel excluded. And if we can eliminate that, the world's better. Because a little kid that feels excluded, it affects the rest of his life. He didn't get an opportunity, and bitterness comes from that. And bitterness turns into bad decisions. And if we can keep everybody included and nobody feels excluded, that sounds cliche, but I really believe this.
Yeah.
If we keep everybody from being excluded and everybody's included, then the bitterness and the disappointment that comes from being excluded never happens. And we're not going to reach everybody, but that's certainly a big part of what we do.
Well, we do hope that you find some major leaguers because then they can give back to
Yes, that too.
And they can
that
start
too.
to write some big checks. All right. By the way, Florida softball was supposed to start at noon, but as we all know, with the College World Series
rain season
and postseason baseball in general, yes, there's a weather delay. So now 1:36 first pitch is what I'm seeing online. So just wanted to communicate that. So Frank, let's talk a little bit of baseball. We watched the game. Frank had a walk-off party Saturday night at his house for the coaches and volunteers, and watched Florida just get absolutely handled Saturday night. And then also on the softball side, same thing by Texas. Did not go well. But either way, that was for baseball. It was Oklahoma State. Are you excited about today's game?
I am.
It's supposed to start at 3.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that's right. Here's what I'll tell you about the Florida baseball team. They've proven they belonged in. Florida played Nebraska, okay? Florida was 28-27, 13-7 in their league, 13-17 in their league. Nebraska was 40-19 and won the Big Ten tournament, and Florida was clearly better. So obviously they belonged in.
Which I thought all along because of the strength of the schedule.
Right. So they belonged in. But here's what I don't think they're going to beat Oklahoma State today because I think they're just out of pitching, and I think Oklahoma State has the better team. But I will tell you this: what intrigues me about today's game, now the pressure's all on Oklahoma State. They're the home team. They're the 11th overall seed nationally. They're the team that's supposed to win, and you're playing Goliath. See, this is almost like you play Florida in baseball. That's playing Alabama in football, North Carolina in basketball. If you're playing Alabama in football and you're having this great year, all of a sudden you get behind in the first half, and you go, oh boy, that's Alabama. Well, that's what Florida has no pressure. Florida did better in this tournament than anyone thought they would do. They've already won 3 games. They're 3-1 in this tournament. Oklahoma State goes, oh boy. We're playing Goliath now. I know Goliath isn't typical Goliath, but they still have the brand. They still have that F on their uniform. They still have that coach who's been to 8 College World Series and won a national championship and been to 2 finals, and we don't have all that. And so I think Oklahoma State's the better team, and I think they're going to win. And I think I'm assuming they've got more pitching, although I was surprised that did you stay up and watch the game last night?
I did.
I'm surprised the reliever, the 6'8" guy, their Gabe Davis, not the receiver Gabe Davis.
Right.
Why would they have gone with him so long, knowing they were probably playing today? They weren't hitting Neely. Neely was as good as I've ever seen him.
Yeah, he was.
So they weren't hitting Neely. Why would you burn that guy? Because he can't pitch today now. He threw 70, 80 pitches.
Yeah.
And so
I guess they thought they were going at some point.
They thought he'd come back.
Yeah,
they thought they'd come back,
and
then
the bats would get hot.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, so I don't know if Taylor you were watching on Saturday night, but Jack Caglione was the starting pitcher, which I hated. I did not want him to pitch because to me he gets affected as a hitter sometimes if he pitches, and he at times, as we all know, can be a little wild. Well, he got lit up. We're talking 2 home runs in the first inning, and they almost hit a third. And I was talking to Joe Mercadante, the UNF baseball coach. I'm like, why is he still in? Right, this is now like inning 3. Like, why is he still in? I'm frustrated, obviously. Yeah. And Joe said because Kevin O'Sullivan doesn't have a bullpen.
He's got to eat
He has
innings.
to let him go as
Yeah.
much as, and I'm like, but he doesn't have it. And he's like, but you don't understand. I'm like,
Yeah.
I understand. I'm just frustrated. As a
But
fan.
he's right. You got to eat innings.
Yeah.
Because you got to save your pitching. This has been quite the story. I mean, because I'm not sure Florida's not going to win today. Again,
Same.
They're
gutsy.
Oklahoma State's got the pressure now. It doesn't matter. I don't think either one of them are going to beat Clemson.
Yeah.
But worry about that then.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
get-
then you'll
get
have
this
fresh
game.
pitchers again. Yeah. All right. You want to ask a Jags question since we have the play-by-play voice of the
Might as
Jaguars
well.
here?
Might as well get some Jags talk in. So we one thing we've talked a lot about so far, Frank, is obviously the wide receiver room, and we've had the conversation of 5 or 6 wide receivers or 6 or 7 wide receivers. What are they going to do? And last year we saw what happened when Christian Kirk went down, and that's the conversation I think we have a lot of. That 8-3 turned very bad when Kirk went down, and obviously the injury with Trevor Lawrence too. But what are your expectations when it comes to the wide receiver group? Are you thinking they will keep one of these undrafted guys? A lot of people talk about Cephas a lot, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think he's probably the best undrafted guy. Undrafted guys or guys at the bottom of the draft like Parker Washington, they're there in case somebody gets hurt. They're not going to change your team. They're not going to change how many games you win or lose unless someone gets hurt. You're just trying to hold on. What's interesting about the wide receiver room, Taylor, is the world's changed, not just in the last 20 years, in the last 2 or 3 years. Now wide receivers are all the rage. All the wide receivers. You see Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, we
got
just
paid
saw that
today.
contract. Yeah.
They all got paid though. All the wide receivers are getting paid because now you're signing guys who can separate. As good as the Jaguar receiver room was, they didn't have that guy with 2 or 3 gears. They didn't have the over-the-top guy. Well, now they got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis has proven he's a touchdown maker, and Brian Thomas Jr. is blown me away at these. Lauren, you've been out. He's blown me away at these OTAs we've seen. He's better than I thought. He is really good. Bucky Brooks told me he talked to a coach at LSU who said he was more talented than Malik Neighbors. Neighbors was just more polished and came around faster, but this guy had the better upside. So to your question about the receiver room, you need guys that can get down the field. That's what they did not have. I think the receiver room is going to be really. Now I got to stay healthy.
Yep.
So to your specific question, yes, there's a chance one of the undrafted guys, Josh Cephas, could make the team. David White, obviously, he's hurt now, could make the team as a special teams guy. Remember, Elijah Cooks is still around. Parker Washington is still around. The thing is, you don't want to. If you have to play a guy like that, you're not as good as you want to be.
Yeah.
The receiving room, the top end of the receiving room, I think, is very good.
Now, what about the Tim Jones conversation? Because we talked a lot about how you kind of knew what was going on when Tim Jones was on the field because he was that blocking wide receiver.
Right.
And now you have guys and a Brian Thomas Jr. and a Gabe Davis who are able of blocking. So do you keep someone else and part ways with the Tim Jones because you have guys that can do that job now?
You'll have your Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., and Christian Kirk are your starters. That's what you know. I think after that, and with Zay Jones not on the team anymore, Calvin Ridley not on the team anymore, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
I think you have 3 starters, and then I think between
Devin
Parker,
Duvernay.
but Devin Duvernay can factor in because he's fast. Again, I think he's more return guy than receiver. He can factor in. Parker Washington is drafted, could factor in. Elijah Cooks did some good things last year, could factor in. Tim Jones is your steady special teams guy, blocker guy, could factor in. I think you're going to keep 6.
Okay.
So 3 of those 4 have a real good chance to make the team. And I'm counting Duvernay as one of the 6. If you don't count him as a receiver, then you're keeping 5. So we'll see. But Tim Jones, look, he's a great special teams guy. If Tim Jones is on the team, your room's not as deep as you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's a reality. If Tim Jones is on your team, and that's no knock on Tim. He plays hard. He's a great special teams guy.
The gunner guy.
Yeah, but your team's not quite as deep if he's on your team.
I just got this alert. Sad news. Cowboys Hall of Fame offensive lineman Larry Allen died suddenly at the age of 52
Wow.
while on vacation with his family in Mexico.
Possibly as good a guard who's ever played the game.
Absolutely.
He might be. John Hanna, Larry Little, he's right in the conversation of the best. He might be the best guard that ever played. He's a pure guard. He's a road
Absolutely.
grader. That is sad.
Yeah.
Really
That is
sad news.
On vacation.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's all the
Yeah.
alert says from ESPN, so we'll learn more. Frank, what's coming up later on your show?
Yeah, well, you. Okay, first of all, you.
Surprise.
For people,
Oh.
so Hayes is on vacation. Okay, and Hayes is on vacation.
Is he allowed to go on vacation?
Well,
I didn't know.
It didn't come across my desk. But Hayes is on vacation, and we like to use people. Obviously, all of us like to work together. Hacker's going to be do a lot of our fill-ins because Hacker works at night, so it gives Hacker a chance to work in the afternoon. So Hacker will sit in with either me or Hayes most of the time. But I said, let's kick it off the right way. Lauren loves to work. I mean, she's going to be out here in the parking lot changing tires and stuff in between
Yeah.
shows.
Oh, yeah.
But she loves to work, and so I thought Lauren and I do the show together, so we'll have some fun. We'll talk about this a little bit. We'll talk about the baseball. The baseball will be going on at that point, I would say.
Yes, that was the only downside of
Yeah,
working
yeah,
here.
that's
Show
right.
is while
You can't
watching
watch-
stressful
You
baseball
know she
games.
loves you.
Yeah,
if she's
I
that's
know.
right.
She's very good. She's very good. But no, I want to talk about the sports weekend. I got some thoughts about Major League Baseball I want to get into. And again, I think this Florida baseball team. And by the way, I want to talk about a lot of college baseball. How good's FSU?
Yes.
Remember now,
And
FSU
Georgia.
and Georgia. You're right. FSU. I told this story a lot. So, and I'll go quick. I know we're past break. It's me. So I'm the one who made us past break. But the reality is, Link Jarrett might be the best coach in the country.
Yeah.
He might be. Rich Wallace just called him the best coach in the country. So he goes to Notre Dame and inexplicably gets Notre Dame into Omaha.
Yeah.
Oh, Notre Dame has no business going
Just
to Omaha.
left us.
Yeah,
He
I know.
abandoned us.
Gets him to
Everyone
Omaha.
does.
But he grew up in Tallahassee, and he's an FSU guy, and you knew he was going to take the FSU job when he got it. Well, then they weren't, and I told everybody, this guy's unbelievable. Well, they weren't very good last year. And so I'm getting a lot of tweets and Jags, hey, how about your guy? Do you still believe your guy? And I said, yes. He had a clean house. He had to rebuild the roster. Now, I didn't think it was going to happen this fast.
Yeah.
I thought maybe next year.
Yeah.
But he's a great. So FSU, so we'll talk college baseball,
Yeah, he's
Major
phenomenal.
League Baseball, a little Jaguars, and talk all about this coming up. With you in just a bit.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Frank.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you
Thanks,
guys
Frank.
very much for coming out. I appreciate it.
And just a reminder, it is walkoffcharities.com. The auction ends today at 4 o'clock, so make sure you get your bids on all of the 70-plus items that you desire. When Taylor and I return on this Big Chief Tire Monday, we will talk a little more NFL. We have divisional rankings by Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports. Where does the AFC South come in? That might surprise you. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels. School's out for summer. More time for 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots and the first treatment now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Mia here. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sports book. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Andrew Gibson here, sports fans, and the next time you're driving by Kuhn Flowers on Beach Boulevard, why not stop in and smell the roses? Kuhn Flowers has totally changed the face of their store inside and out. Send someone you love a floral arrangement today from Kuhn Flowers.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Do you have clicking, popping, swelling, or pain in your knee or shoulder? This can be due to arthritic changes in your joints. Over time, you have wear and tear of your cartilage. I am Dr. George Bari, and here at Bari Orthopedics, we have numerous ways to treat your arthritis, such as regenerative medicine, including PRP and joint replacements with CT guidance for accuracy down to the millimeter. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, call us for an appointment today, or log on to BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl is here. I'm Lauren Brooks. Me O'Brien on her way from downtown, hanging out with the Jaguars. Her interview with Dewey Wingard coming up later in the program. RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters. We are live at Deer Creek for the 3rd annual Daly's Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic, and it is a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust with 5 locations around town. Visit BigChiefTire.com. All right, Taylor Dahl, let's get into these NFL divisional rankings, and this is after the free agency and draft periods have taken place. I think most people would get Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports' number 1 division. That would be the AFC North, and that's because 3 of those teams had 10 wins or more. So I think it's hard to argue that the AFC North is the best division in all of football. I obviously think that the AFC overall is a better conference than the NFC as far as depth is concerned. But yeah, we're going to say that, like I said, I think most people would agree, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not look at from top to bottom the weapons in that division, the quarterbacks in that division, the defenses in that division, and
Deshaun Watson may be the worst one.
I
maybe
mean,
Russell Wilson.
That's
I don't know.
what I mean. Depending, I guess. Yeah, I feel like maybe a lot of people would put. Maybe I would guess maybe Russ at the bottom just because of the last couple years.
And then there'd be a debate for honestly who's number 1, because some people would say Joe Burrow, some people would say Lamar Jackson.
And I think that for me, when you look at when it's between the Russ conversation and the Deshaun, Some people are way higher on Deshaun than I am. I've talked about that a lot. I just haven't seen anything. He didn't play football for a while, and then since he's been back, there's been nothing at all that's impressed me. So until I start seeing that, I'm not going to put him above anybody in that division, honestly.
Yeah, I can understand that. The second-ranked division, again, this is according to Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports, the NFC North, and something tells
This
me
one's wild to see.
Yeah, because it's
like,
wild that it's. I feel like. I mean, it's gone leaps and bounds ahead of where it used to be.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was Packers. I mean, it was Packers forever. Every now and then, the Vikings would win. The Bears have a couple in there during that time, but for the most part, it's just been Green Bay. And so to see, obviously, the Lions, a lot of people talk about the Lions being one of the best teams in the NFL. So seeing that happen is already a little crazy.
And the Packers are still good.
The Packers are
Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, Packers once again find another quarterback who seems like he'll be at least good. We don't know if he's great yet, but he'll be a good quarterback. And that organization's just ran so well. And I was having a conversation recently about how have they kept finding all of this success year after year? Not just with the quarterback. Their defense, they find some top defenses. Their offensive line has consistently been one of the best in the league. They end up finding weapons after weapons without having to spend super high draft capital or having to spend a ton of money. And the guy I was talking to, Eric Eager, was like, being like the fans, the city owned, being a city owned, not. There's no owner. It's not one guy who's running everything. The decisions go through a lot of people because they don't have one man making all of these decisions that kind of trickle down, and that popped out to me a lot. But yeah, it's interesting seeing that, but when you look at the weapons in that division, and I think we'll probably see towards the top, obviously quarterbacks are a big one, but also I think receiving weapons, when we look at the list of guys we talked about last week that sit at the top, most of those guys are probably going to sit in these top rankings of the divisional teams they think are the best.
Yeah, how would you rank the wide receiving core? And you haven't done this as far as an exercise is concerned, but who do you think has the best in that division?
I would, and that's hard. I would
probably the Lions.
I don't know. I think Amon-Ra is like one of the best. I would say the Bears.
Okay.
The weapon. Like if we're just talking about the wide receivers, because of the depth of it. I mean, I think behind Amon-Ra, they have Amon-Ra obviously, and I love him. I think he's one of the best in the league. I would probably put Vikings weapons above the Lions, honestly. To me, it would probably be Bears, Vikings, Lions, and then Green Bay. But if you were to rank them individually, if you were going through the list of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Amon-Ra, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and then you're not even looking about Green Bay with Romeo Doubs and Wicks and Jaden Reed and all of these guys. So those ones I think will have more of an idea this year, the Green Bay receivers, of who is their guy. But that list is insane when you go through some of those wide receivers that are in the division.
And like Frank said, Justin Jefferson, now he's the highest paid non-quarterback in all of the NFL. 4-year deal, $140 million with $110 million guaranteed. It's incredible to me that we're finally moving towards, and great I think, that we're finally moving towards a higher percentage guaranteed of these contracts in the NFL. Obviously, Major League Baseball, they're entirely guaranteed, but the NFL doesn't want to do that because of injury. But still, a larger percentage being guaranteed, I think, is a great thing. All right, so that brings us to the third division ranking, and I was shocked to see the answer being the AFC South. Look, I understand the Jaguars made the playoffs 2 seasons ago. The Texans made the playoffs this past season. And so those teams had a lot of hope, certainly, and a lot of people love the Texans. But the other two teams I don't think are quite as strong, but that's what Jeff Kerr has to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are higher on the other two teams than we are. And I've mentioned that a few times. I think that we have this perception of Anthony Richardson, and other people, for whatever reason, think very differently.
Right.
I saw a tweet this morning. They're like, Anthony Richardson only played, I can't remember the numbers, 15 quarters of football or something like that last season, and still was like 15th most fantasy points because he's able to do so much on the football field. And I think for a lot of people, if he's healthy, they will be a competitive football team. And then when it comes to the Colts, you're talking about, I feel like, again, we're not very high on Will Levis, but for some people, the Titans. Yeah. When you talk about Will Levis, some people are sitting there, I've seen a lot of people high on Will Levis and how they expect him to take a big leap this season, and just also obviously with some of the weapons that they've been able to pick up this offseason. And I think a lot of it is surrounding that. All of the teams in this division this offseason had big offseasons. And so they see a competitiveness from top to bottom, and especially in ones like the Colts had a winning record last season. The Jags had a winning record. Yes, with Gardner Minshew. Three of the teams had winning records in this division last season, and they're expecting also a jump from I think probably everybody and every quarterback. So I see it. It is interesting to me that the AFC East isn't above them, but I think I would.
Which comes in at number 4.
I think I would flop those two, but other than that, I get why they have them higher up there.
And like I said, I think the AFC is a better conference than the NFC. So to round out the divisions, number 5 NFC West and number 6 NFC East, Jeff Kerr obviously agrees that he's putting 2 NFC teams or NFC divisions towards the bottom. Number 7 AFC West, because it's just the Chiefs and nobody else.
It's just, but you have to put them up because it's just the Chiefs.
Exactly, it's just the Chiefs, and of course the NFC South. It used to be the AFC South and the NFC South were neck and neck for which division is the worst, but now the AFC South has leapfrogged a lot of those divisions, and the NFC South comes in at number 8. All right. Former Jaguar is once again looking for a job. We'll get to that as we continue here live from Deer Creek for the 3rd annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic on this Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday, the local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust. From the backyard to the ball yard, let's have a ball. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJAX.com.
EasyCater. 100,000 restaurants, one platform. Whether you need food for catered meetings or company events, EasyCater has everything to make food for work, work. Seriously, it's all right here in one place. Coffee, snacks, breakfast, daily employee lunches, you name it. Whether you run a nonprofit or a company with offices nationwide, we've got you covered. Anywhere work happens, EasyCater has everything you need to make food for work, work. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty. A proud partner of the Jaguars.
You can find Brackish Vodka in all the new flavors available at Golden Liquor off Atlantic and Kernan. Pick up a bottle today and drink like a local.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 3rd, 2018, Golden State guard Stephen Curry breaks Ray Allen's NBA Finals record for most three-pointers with 9 in Game 2 against the Cavaliers.
Hey gang, a tougher housing market means it's crucial to hire the right agent to sell your home at maximum price. That's why I recommend Chad and Sandy Newman. Chad and Sandy have the plan and experience to sell your home fast and, most importantly for you, get maximum cash. Listen, problems lead to promises, lead to proof when you trust Chad and Sandy. Among those promises, Chad and Sandy, the only local real estate experts I trust and recommend, and this is why. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Problems that you think are problems are fixed with the promises of Chad and Sandy. Let's go now to some proof. Justin and Palatka. I was trapped in a mortgage with my ex-wife on a home that didn't sell for 184 days with another realtor. Finally, we hired Chad and Sandy, and the difference was instantaneous. We had multiple offers in 7 days and sold and closed in 16. So just do this, gang. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Mia here, and I want to congratulate our friends at Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and underground utility contractor in the state of Florida. When you need help with any plumbing or septic issue, just give them a call and relax. They'll send one of their first-round draft picks over to get the job done right. Call 904-862-6769. Trust me, when my septic field had issues last summer, Duck Duck sent a representative out that very afternoon. That's 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Jags fans, the schedule's finally here, and you don't want to miss these matchups. Whether you want to become a season ticket member, catch 3 or more games with a bundle at the bank, or experience the season with Prowl Pass, there's a plan for every fan. Get locked in by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Experience Jaguars game day your way at the bank this fall.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Little Morgan Wallen for you on this Monday. Taylor Dahl, Lauren Brooks, RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters. We're live here at Deer Creek for the 3rd annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic auction. We'll end at 4 o'clock today, so make sure you get your bids in, walkoffcharities.com. Mia will join us at 1 o'clock, and we'll get all into Jaguars OTAs and hear her interview with Jaguars safety Dewey Wingard. Until then, Taylor, no surprise really to me, but I think the Washington Commanders did the right thing when they decided to release former kicker Brandon McManus, former Jaguars kicker, I should say, Brandon McManus, who was accused by 2 women of sexually assaulting them during the Jaguars' flight to London. I think too often we just jump to judgment, and so I understand I'm probably doing that in this case. I'm just assuming that these 2 women are not making this up and that he did that. I understand we probably need to let it go through the legal system, but I think the Commanders did the right thing, and I'm assuming they did enough of their own investigation into it. Maybe talk to Brandon and maybe he admitted it. I have no idea, but that probably wouldn't be smart considering his lawyers are saying that he didn't, so never mind on that. But overall, I think the Commanders did the right thing.
Yeah, we've seen the situations on both sides, and that's why it's just such a weird gray line, and I hate when these things happen. Obviously, if it was something that happened, then you feel terrible for the women, and it's something they shouldn't have gone through. But we've also seen the reverse, where people have lied, and so it's an unfortunate, very, very gray line situation, because you are, let's say, if we come to find out, because I'm guessing there's cameras on planes, so I'm guessing they have some sort of footage. I want to say I read something about that, so they're obviously investigating into that to see what they can see out of this. The start is there was obviously broken rules with drinking and smoking on the plane reportedly, which I saw many former players that used to play make comments about that of like, oh, we didn't even know that was a rule. But when you look more into it, I guess the Washington Commanders, which interesting situation here, but they were the ones, I guess they had an incident a few years ago that was caused from alcohol being being consumed on a plane, and from there the NFL kind of put their foot down and was like, if we have more issues like this, we haven't really pushed it, we haven't enforced the rule a ton, but of course that's what happens when someone breaks a rule and then gets in trouble for crosses more lines, then that's going to be something they focus more on. And so that was part of the situation. But it's just one of those things for me where it's such a hard conversation to have, because let's say we do go back and this is all done and nothing happened and he just got cut from a team because of something he never even did and this was lied about, then people are going to be like, oh, we'll never trust women because they lie about stuff, and we've seen this before. Right. But it's hard not to make the move, especially with this. It's a player that hasn't even played for them yet, and they're doing the best for their organization and just being like, while all of this is going on, we just got to part ways. And if he comes out innocent, he'll find a job. If he's guilty, then hopefully he doesn't play again.
Yeah, I guess my rule of thumb too is like, in these situations, if it's multiple women, like the Deshaun Watson case, and now it's multiple women saying it, I guess I tend to believe, I don't know if that's the right way to think of it or not, but I tend to believe, I guess, truth in numbers, so to speak. But yeah, we will certainly find out if Brandon McManus ever works again in the NFL, or if this is the end of the road for him because of some bad behavior on a plane. All right, when we return, Mia O'Brien joins us. We'll get her observations from Jaguars OTA number 7. Also hear her interview with Dewey Wingard. And also Trevor Lawrence met with the media. What did he have to say? All that coming up in the second hour of Helmets and Heels live here at Deer Creek on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Apparently I'm, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
Jeff Prosser.
I think I need a timeout.
Mornings on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. The Poker Atlas Tour is blazing its way through Best Bet St. Augustine now through June 16th. Get in on the action with 7 poker events, highlighted by the $600 No Limit Hold'em title event, boasting a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. You can also dive into our $300 event 1 with a $100,000 guarantee. Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Poker Atlas Tour now through June 16th. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots and the first treatment now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Beard's Diamond's incredible 0% financing is back.
Shop the biggest inventory in North Florida
and get 0% financing store-wide for 5 years on anything and everything.
In the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention veterans, if you have a VA loan, you need to listen to this, especially if your current rate is higher than 6.5%. Now is the time to take advantage of the federal government's VA Streamlined Refinance Program. With my friends at Loan Pronto, you can. Go to loanpronto.com. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs in the 5s. You can drop your rate now. Lower your payment with no income documentation and no appraisal. Do it at loanpronto.com. Their all-digital platform makes it easy. They can even cover your closing costs. If you need cash now, Loan Pronto can get you up to 100% of your home value. You can pay off all your credit cards or other debt and save as much as $1,000 a month. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508 or get a 30-second rate quote at loanpronto.com. Ask about streamlined VA loans, no income doc, and no appraisal. Loan Pronto, 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous, don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers, and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills, and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and siding.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. The Florida Gators stepped up this weekend in the NCAA tournament, eliminating Nebraska in their first game on Sunday, 17-11, and then battled against Oklahoma State in Game 2 of the day, winning 5-2, forcing a Game 7 at Stillwater Regional today at 3 p.m. Head coach Kevin O'Sullivan spoke on the bullpen going into today's game.
We've been in this position before. I think it's the third year in a row where we've been to the final game of a regional. We got numbers. It's just a matter of guys going out there. And then honestly, it's just, we're just going to need certain guys to give us 3 outs here, 3 outs there, and hopefully get a decent start. But it doesn't have to lean on one person. We're going to need, as a collective group, we're going to need solid outings. But no one's going to have to feel the pressure that they've got to go 5 innings or 6 innings or 7. We just got to piece it together, but we certainly have the numbers.
It's 88 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, live here at Deer Creek Country Club for the 3rd annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic on this Big Chief Tire Monday, as we welcome in Mia O'Brien, fresh from Miller Electric Center and the Jaguars OTA number 7. Mia, what were your observations of this critical off-season voluntary workout?
Well, if you're looking for my observations, you can check out Quick Hits driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL social channels. I'm just kidding, although those are live, or at least that's what the Wi-Fi is telling me, that they are live right now on 1010XL's Twitter. We're working on some of the others. Biggest thing for me was the defensive rookies. I was pretty impressed more than once by more than one of those members of the 2024 draft class. I think that there was a ton of run given to both Mason Smith as well as Jordan Jefferson against the first team offense today. Miles Cole got some reps as well. He beat Cam Robinson at one point for a would-be sack. Pressure across the board, not just from the rookie class. Travis Gibson had a would-be sack. Interesting to see Chad Muma and Devin Lloyd both rushing the passer at the same time. That is safe to say something we have not seen since they both entered the league in 2022. And so it was a great day for the defense, which is crazy to think because I didn't count a single drop by the offense, Lauren. But it was certainly a day in which it was clear the offense was focused on the run game and handing the ball off. But there were certainly a couple splash plays here and there. I noted in my quick hits, so exciting to see Christian Kirk back at full capacity. And at one point it was noted to me actually by Jacob, our photographer extraordinaire. He was like, man, that's the same route, the same catch, the same throw from Trevor that he got hurt on against the Bengals. And, of course, Christian has been quick to note that He had already suffered that core muscle injury against the Colts 7 weeks earlier, and it was a matter of when it was time to go. It was time to go. His words, not mine. And so obviously I think his core muscle, if you know what I mean, is in a better place. And so it didn't pop off this time, but it was just one of those moments where you were like, dang, it does look so smooth. The operation looks so smooth. And I was listening even to Nate Tice, on the way over here, and he said that when we talk about the Jaguars last season, you can't necessarily blame the injuries, or if you want to blame the operation, what you need to blame this disappointing quote-unquote 9-8 season on is the fact that the way the offense was structured was that if you removed one piece from the stack of cards, it tumbled like a house of cards. You didn't have players that had the versatility to do a variety of things just because this is what they did in the offense, this was their role, and if they executed well like they did in 2022, then everything would be working to perfection. And so I think that you will still see that because I do think this offense is predicated on the play of Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. But I think what the team has done a great job of going out and doing this year is addressing and finding those players that can resolve a variety of issues, whether that's the fact that Gabe Davis can stretch the field and be a big target in the red zone, whether it's Eric Armstead, his ability to play the 3 technique as well as a big end on the outside. You found guys that can do a couple different things as opposed to, hey, they fit with our scheme because they do this really well, and we're going to have them do this specifically.
Wait, were you listening to Nate Tice instead of Helmets and Heels on your way here?
I listened to both.
Taylor, I have a problem with this.
I listened to both, and also it's because we want to provide you guys insight, not just from Duval, but again, him and Mina Kimes are doing their quarterback rankings, which I think is a worthwhile exercise, and I was curious to see where Trevor fell. He was a top 10 quarterback by both of their metrics, by the way. Spoiler alert.
That is good.
It
was good to see Gabe Davis. You mentioned him out at practice today. And just the type of receiver, different type of receiver that he gives Trevor to throw to. That, to me, is an exciting new piece to this offense. And as I told Taylor, Brian Thomas Jr. looks like he floats when he's out there on the practice field.
Yeah, you know who else floats? Trevor himself. I know that y'all are going to go nuts for the video of Mac Jones when he did the somersault and he did a little shimmy shake. Look, Mac is having fun. It's great to see. But it was funny because Mac did that, and I looked at Gus Logan. I'm like, post it right now. Like, every platform, I'll film the rest of the drill. But then I looked at him, and I go, it's so funny that I said that just because I knew Mac, and people love to see Mac doing so well here. Watching Trevor go through the same drill, one person prior through the drill line, it looked like Trevor was floating. And then Mac gets out there, and it's a little bit more laborsome. And that's no knock on Mac Jones. That's just to say that Trevor Lawrence is an elite athlete, regardless of if you think he's a top 10 quarterback or not. He is an elite specimen in the open field as well as in the pocket. And so that's where you can tell the difference for those that believe that Mac Jones should be the starter this year. Let me just tell you, and again, this is Trevor being fleet of foot, not necessarily the arm, although the arm, it's certainly there too. But this was one particular drill running through traffic, and again, it's simulated, and it's just the coaches with bags and what have you. But it's just one of those things where Mac looks good, and he looks so happy, and I'm happy for him. But yes, Trevor is the more elite athlete of the quarterback room.
Yeah, Taylor, I noticed the NFL took Demetrius Harvey's video and put it out on social, so they obviously also liked
Mac.
Yeah, the Mac Jones and the dancing. Look, I mean, that's a fun storyline for national entities, like Mac Jones, backup quarterback to Trevor Lawrence, and things like that. Here in Duval, we really just focus on the one, the only franchise quarterback. Yeah, exactly. And it looks like, so Trevor met with the media after practice. We'll get those comments for you tomorrow. But yeah, it looks like, to me, like I told you earlier, this is Trevor Lawrence now really settling into his position of leader, vocal leader, not just leader once the play starts, but the vocal leader leading into it. I saw, thanks to the people who got to stay after practice, that he was working with Gabe Davis to the side, maybe not after practice, but during the special teams portion, working with Gabe Davis on timing and things like that. Like, that's exactly what you want to see.
Definitely. And to your point, Mia, in the beginning about, because I've mentioned it a few times, and when we talked to Ty Dunn last week, and he also, when he used the word, even when they were 8-3, he said the offense was still underwhelming. And I had been saying that since the end of the season, and I couldn't quite put a finger on why I felt like I felt that way. I knew obviously they were barely winning games. They probably should have won by a lot more by the way people were talking about them before the season started. And all that we kept hearing was this team's going to put up 40 points a game, and it was just not like that whatsoever. Not even when they were playing and Trevor was playing at the level that, that you post the comparisons of pre-injury, post-injury. They still weren't looking like this super high-functional, scary offense. And that description is probably the best one I've heard that explains why. Because they had good players, and they had like this functional part of it, but the problem was it was like all role players almost. There was nobody, like you said, that could kind of get out there, and if someone is not on the field, it was very noticeable when certain people weren't on the field. And the best offenses are ran when you're not even looking for a particular player, of like, why isn't so and so out there?
And Mina brought up a great stat, because of course Nate is a noted Jaguar and Trevor appreciator. Let's call it that way. And obviously his dad previously coached here in Duval County.
Mina has been too,
but Mina led,
at least Trevor.
Mina led with a split that I did not realize. And when I say it, there are those of you driving around who will say, oh, see, Trevor's awful. And then when you actually get into the nuance of it, and what was then later explained by both of them, you realize, again, these are two national reporters who understand the entire situation, unlike some of the national analysts who we gave some airtime to last week. Looking at you, Greg Cosell. Trevor Lawrence, number 2 QBR overall in the league throughout the whole season, not just before the injury, week 13 against the Bengals, the entire 18-week season. He was number 2 against zone coverage. He was number 28 in QBR against man-to-man defense. Now, to some of you, that's, well, he doesn't know how to read a man-to-man defense. Like, that's the problem. It also says that his receivers weren't winning for him. It also speaks to, as Nate pointed out, it speaks to an offensive line that, because it had parts shuffling in and out, and because it was not performing at peak efficiency, not to mention the injuries to Trevor and how they curtailed the offense so that he would get the ball out quickly so as to not potentially further his injuries. Because of that, you saw an offense that had to play a different way, and in turn, how could he be good against man-to-man defense when the receivers aren't winning, and he's just looking at check down, because that's the box that was created in the offense. And so, look, there are some of you who will say, oh, that's an excuse, like he couldn't read it. I don't have the tape in front of me, but I just heard that split, and I didn't realize that. And I think, again, it speaks to the offensive operation as a whole. Why were they so good against zone, but why did it struggle so mightily against man-to-man? Because I can't believe it's just, well, Trevor can't read the defense.
I also wonder if it's partially the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars. The last 2 seasons, what was Trevor practicing against?
True. You're not wrong
for
there.
The most part, not man-to-man, and so you change out. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I do wonder if now Trevor seeing more man-to-man in practice will help him.
Well, and I'd also be interested to see the numbers from 2022 and 2023, what teams were playing against Trevor, because that's a part of it too. A lot of times, once you have film on guys, you find their weaknesses, and it's being able to overcome those weaknesses. And obviously the Jags couldn't do that, especially late in the season. Defenses had figured out pretty much everything when it came to this Jags offense, and that's why it was so important to go get a Gabe Davis and a Brian Thomas Jr., because you do have guys that can create separation now and can be those the deep threats that you need and the red zone threats that you need, and be able to get some of those contested catches that maybe you didn't have the guys that were able to do that last year. So it'll be interesting this year to see how much more functional it looks when they are in that, when they are going against that, when they are in that scheme, and there's guys, these opposing teams and defenses are figuring out what now they can find as a weakness of Trevor, because you have these receivers now that can't be an excuse anymore.
Yeah, all right, so Mia, you talked about the secondary, at least the young defensive guys. One guy who's been here a while certainly has been a special teams guru, and at times has had to play on the field in key moments. That would be safety Dewey Wingard, Andrew Wingard, formerly, I should say is his title, or his name. So catching up with him today, you talked with him for quite some time. We're going to get to listen to that interview in just a second. What's the highlight?
The highlight is we hear about Dewey's golf game. We hear about his ponytail he's now sporting. Just trust me, bear through it. You'll get a couple laughs out of that. And then we get real. We get real in terms of what was going on with the defense in the last month of the season, where the defense is now, how he feels about not only Ryan Nielsen but Chris Richard, and he will leave you with a new mantra, a new line that he hopes to catch fire and eventually cash in on royalties from regarding the identity of the 2024 Jaguars.
Interesting. All right, here is Mia O'Brien and her one-on-one with Andrew Wingard.
Pleased to be joined with Jaguars veteran safety Andrew Dewey Wingard. Hello, sir. How are you? How was your off season?
It was fantastic. It was long. Happy to be back. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. How much golf did you play?
A lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be played here in the next month or two before, we pack it all up and have to go play the sport we really play. So,
what's the goal? Short game improvements? Is it the driver? What are you most proud of your game during the off season?
The short game has definitely gotten better. Shout out to me and my dad. We go out, we grind together on the short game because, that's where it's at. But the long game is coming along.
Okay.
I'm down to about a 9 handicap, so.
All right.
And if I'm at a 9 in Florida, I can go a whole hell of a lot lower in Denver when I can spray it across to other fairways and stuff. And
You're
it's
out
not
here
just,
hustling them for money when you go back.
Yeah, so.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I was working on my new grip last night, so I'll have to show it to you after
Strengthening it, weakening it?
Changing my hand position. Okay. I've been doing the baseball grip for
gotcha.
better part of the last 6 years, so changing that. But we'll talk about that off air. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about this defense. Ponytail?
Yeah.
What inspired that?
I was wearing the hat outside, and I got a mean tan line. So it's not. I'm not trying to be like some samurai warrior or something, but it works. Yeah. But the tan on the forehead is definitely the reason for the ponytail.
Had you ever done a ponytail before?
I have. I just haven't really made it my look, but I kind of made it my look this spring. So.
I promise we're going to talk football.
For sure.
Last time I talked to you, I believe, was in the locker room in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Where this team was at that moment to now. Obviously, a new coaching staff is certainly part of it, but where would you evaluate headspace where this defense in particular is today as we stand here?
Definitely in a better headspace. You obviously have to accept your failures in this league and just as a person in general, and we failed, but we're here now. So not looking at the past, but love this new crew. Coach Nielsen, my coach specifically, Coach Richard. It's really damn good coaches, and so detailed, so almost militaristic, if you will. A line, a sign, be where you're at, and they're going to call you out if you do things wrong, and they're going to praise you when you do things right. So we got a really good mesh between players and coaches right now.
And you guys had the opportunity, I know in your exit meetings, to really talk to Doug about where you guys wanted to improve. Were those things that you identified as we need to get better in these areas?
Well, I can't say specifically. I didn't have those conversations. I'm sure, probably talked to Foye, Josh, all those guys, but I'm sure they probably echoed the same things is, if you want to be great, you got to do things on the practice field great. You got to do things in the playbook great. And so far, they're doing it great. And it's, exactly where you have to be, exactly where you have to align, where to key. That's how you play defense. So that's where we're at.
I'm glad you brought up Chris because I feel like we've talked about Ryan so much and we forget that he's kind of the yin to the yang. 100%. Walk me through how those two work together and how it works for you guys.
Yeah, Nielsen's he's the general. He's the guy. He's the guy who moves all the chess pieces. But he really relies on Coach Richard for the details of basically every position in the secondary and the backers on coverage fits and stuff like that. Because Coach Richard, he was in Seattle with the Legion of Boom, stuff like that. And I got to say, honestly, he's one of the best football coaches I've ever been around, truly. And he's going to have us dialed in on the details. And, once we get into the season, we're obviously perfecting what we do right now. But I know when we get into the season, he's going to have us dialed in on what other teams are trying to do to us within what we're playing. So it's been really good this season with him, just knowing our stuff and getting the baseline down.
On the special teams side of things, Heath gave you a couple of shout-outs this morning.
Did he really?
Yes, he did, because he said that with the new kickoff rules, no one is more excited to get out there and tackle somebody as you are.
100%.
Why?
Well, first off, it's not just jogging down. Like, last year, I got to tell you, it was boring on special teams. It was boring. It's just touchbacks. Now, forget the touchdown against the Texans. We don't remember that. But now that we get a chance to go out every Sunday and know we're having reps on kickoff to make tackles and stuff, it's going to be exciting. And, I want to be all-pro in something. I could be an all-pro making all those tackles, so we'll see what happens.
Especially because I know you tag along with Ross a lot of the time, and Ross tags along with you, and you guys work together. He's an all-pro.
We basically are Batman and Robin and I'm definitely Batman.
Good to
he's
know.
Robin.
And look, you're both going to be an all-pro. With these new kickoff rules, Dewey, what's the most difficult part? I know everyone wants to talk about it, and it's so different. But what has been the most difficult part of changing your mindset for it?
I wouldn't say. I think the difficult part is just going to be it's more just straight up mano-a-mano because you're not running, 20, 30 yards down the field where you can kind of just juke guys out and run. You really got to be physical, and you really got to be really gap sound, which sounds crazy on kickoff, but you actually have to have gaps because we're all on the same level. And if you miss a gap, Devin Duvernay is going to put one foot in the ground and get upfield. So we got to be dialed in. It's going to be fun.
Last one from me. The young guys in the secondary. Obviously they drafted 2 more corners.
Yep.
What have you seen from some of those younger guys so far?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. They're all smart. They all know what they're doing. Really like Jarian. I love him. He's if I was a defensive coach, I would love having him on my team for sure because he's one of those guys that, he's loose. He's gonna still be that, schoolyard cat, but he's also smart. You can see he's really smart, and I think he's going to be a really good player.
Overall, for you guys, let's go back to what I said. From where we were in Nashville having that conversation to where this team is now, I know Doug said when asked about what he wants the identity to be, he said physical, smart football.
Yep.
What would you say the identity of this team needs to be in 2024?
I'm trying to think of a catchphrase that I can trademark. You
already got one, so I mean.
Just freaking send it this year. I think that's where we're at because we're all going to look back on last year and kind of be like, all right, imposter syndrome's a thing. And there might have been a little bit of imposter syndrome last year where guys are like, dang, did we take that jump already? Are we ready for this? So I really can sense it this year. Guys are really just locking in. It's no more surfing social media, watching TV, hearing all the noise, building false stuff in their minds. We're just out here on the grass, in between the lines, playing football. And that's what it's going to have to be. You got to go out on Sunday and just play football. Obviously, it's the NFL. You get what you signed up for. There's going to be a lot of noise. That's the fun of it. That's why we love it so much. That's why you want to play on the big stage. But it's almost like you have to reverse your mind to be so much more wake up, eat breakfast, go to your job, go home, go to sleep, be a human being, you know what I mean? So it's deep. I could explain it to you all day, but that's kind of the gist. Don't give a F and send it.
Send it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Send it. Thank you, Dewey.
Thank you.
Let's send it. There it is.
He said just freaking send it.
Just freaking send it. And again, just blocking out the outside noise, which may be cliche, but look, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Dewey's the first player that I have heard say there may have been some imposter syndrome going on in that final month of the season. Yeah. Have we arrived? Have we peaked already? What happens now? And that speaks to why Doug Peterson identified bringing in free agents who have been to the mountaintop, who have played in Super Bowls, who have won Super Bowls, who have been in the Pro Bowl, because that's the only way that, we forget, yes, Dewey's which is crazy to think, one of the quote-unquote older players in his late 20s. This is still one of the younger rosters in the National Football League before you added all these veteran free agents in terms of who you've drafted, who your starters are. Most, if not all of them, had never played in a playoff game before 2022. And so, look, they're still in their 3rd, 4th, 5th season. This is all still new to them. And so I appreciate his transparency as always. And that interview will be up on our 1010XL Jaguars, not 1010XL YouTube, 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel here momentarily. And you'll get to watch Dewey in action, which, what more? And then you'll get to see the ponytail, too.
I thought it was a man bun. Was it a ponytail?
No, it's a man bun, yeah.
Okay.
But he had a pony. It's
There's a difference, right, Taylor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's a little bit of loose hanging out of it.
Okay.
But I empathize with his tan line because I know with the ball cap that I usually run with, I won't reference which of our friends what football entity the hat is for. And unfortunately, because there's no strap in the back, I feel the same thing. I get the line.
Oh yeah,
it's not pretty. But yeah, all the joking aside, I was very appreciative of how transparent Dewey was with emotionally where this team was.
Yeah,
and I go back to when I was in that locker room with him, and he was the one player that was extremely vocal of we didn't know this position group was doing, and that, like, we just weren't talking to each other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like that's an issue anymore.
Well, and Dewey also was on the video that went viral of snatching a terrible towel out of a Steelers fan's hands, and then things went downwards very quickly.
Hey, now, they won 2 of
afterwards.
the next 3. They won 2 of the next 3.
Very
and
soon after,
then it
things
went
got
down.
very bad. And so I'm sure that probably, even that little moment for him, and that's why he admitted, like, hey, maybe we got ahead of ourselves, because I'm sure in that moment, too, they felt that. And then you win 2 more games, so you're really feeling that. And then there was reality, and reality hit for a lot of them. And I like that part, but I also like, too, how he was how he mentioned, he was like, special teams was boring. Like, I'm ready for things to get it spicy again on special teams. We love that. Don't go take your, like, sandwich bathroom break when they're punting or kicking off anymore.
Because it's going to go into the end zone anyways.
Yeah. And so I love that, because I think it's one of the things that you don't usually hear a player be like, it was boring. But
I think that what's important to note, and again, Heath Farwell went into detail, and we'll play that sound throughout the week, and it's available on the Jags YouTube channel. He went into detail this morning of everything that he knows and how he's preparing his team for this new kickoff rule. But truly, no one really knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, he said it's a small fraternity, the special teams coaches. He actually brought Joe DeCamillis, the former special teams coordinator for the Jags, now the associate head coach at South Carolina. He brought him in to pick his brain so that they could try to work together with the team to figure out what's the best way to combat these new rules. And so I think that's what's going to be exciting about it is
everyone's figuring it out together.
We're all figuring it out together. But the other point I want to make is that the Jaguars have a core group of special teamers who have now been together with Heath Farwell for 2 seasons already. Whether that's Dewey, whether that's Chad Muma, whether that's Daniel Thomas. Now you've added over the last year plus some other guys into that conversation. I know
Logan Cook.
Of course, Logan Cook and Ross Matisic. He's mentioned, and I'm talking about the coverage guys. He referenced Ventrell Miller. He referenced Christian Braswell. Some of those younger guys, Caleb Johnson, another part of that core 4 special teams group. And so that's where, as you're preparing for this unknown, having the same group of guys who've worked together for 2+ years, I think is going to, pay dividends for the Jags.
Yeah, I think the special teams will be fascinating. And like Heath Farwell said today, people are not going to show everything in the preseason.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not going to really know what it's going to look like until week 1. All right, that was good stuff from Dewey. And so I guess send it is the new motto from him. And
what was it? Don't
give an F.
Don't give an F. Send it.
Taylor and I were leaving out the first part.
Yeah.
Just send it. All right, what sports are you watching over the next 3 days? Of course, the NBA Finals don't start until Thursday. We'll get to that and Mia's poll when we return on 1010XL 92.5 FM on a Big Chief Tire Monday live from Deer Creek.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday. This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Said Fredo off to do this.
Fat Tony.
I'm smart.
With Mike Dempsey.
I'm smart. I want respect.
Jaguars Today.
Would you stop with this Godfather stuff?
Weekdays from noon to 3.
Keep your friends close.
On 1010XL.
But your enemies close.
Hey, I'm not going to pretend I know the specific problems you might be facing when it comes to the prospect of selling your home. Maybe you need more space for your office or a growing family. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low-ball, out-of-state, instant offer. It's a tougher market. It means it's crucial to hire the right agents to sell your home and maximize your price, and that's why I'm recommending Chad and Sandy Newman, chadandsandy.com. They have the plan and experience to get your home sold fast and get it sold for maximum cash. In fact, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Can you have any more comfort and security than that? Take Tanya in Palencia. I needed to sell my condo fast. I bought a new construction home thinking I had plenty of time to sell. But I listed with another realtor and I got no showings and no offers. I ended up paying 2 mortgages. I then hired Chad and Sandy. I got offers in days and closed in under 30. Go to chadandsandy.com and take advantage of chadandsandy.com.
Mia here. The NBA Finals are just 3 days away, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. It's more than just a sportsbook, folks. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Go check out those props today. Personally, I'm going with the Boston Celtics, 6.5-point favorites at the Garden in Game 1 on Thursday. Although, that plus 195 on the money line for the Mavs, that does sound appetizing. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make that first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make that deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Hey, Hicken here, and I want to tell you about Beach's Dermatology and my doctor, Dr. Metz. I've been going to Dr. Metz for, I don't know how many years, decades. I got the scars to prove it. Listen, Jets, I love the beach. I love to play golf. I love Florida. I love to go to my kids' games in the hot sun all weekend long. Summer's basically here, and the sun will be shining. Don't forget your sunscreen. Trust me on this. You need to go get checked out today. It's more important than you think. Give Beach's Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Is your old AC trying to keep up with the Florida heat?
At JTM Comfort Services, they understand the importance of a reliable AC system. That's why they offer financing on qualified repairs and replacements. Don't suffer through another scorching summer. Upgrade now to a new, energy-efficient system. Visit jtmcooling.com to learn more and schedule your consultation. Veteran and family owned.
Your comfort is your name. Call my dad to keep you in the game.
All right, get those boats ready. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin is coming soon to St. Augustine. It's June 8th. Just go to oldschoolkingfish.com. You can find out more. The grand prize is a Yellowfin bay boat. And with limited boundaries, no bait buying, and no checkout, it is seriously old school. That's why it's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Here's how you do it. You go online, you sign up, and you become part of what is going to a terrific event. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Go to oldschoolkingfish.com.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
I'm Hacker. Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gator Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
Looking to make a great impression? Dylan Denmark here, folks, and when I want to score big, I send flowers or a plant from Jacksonville's best, Kuhn Flowers. Yeah, man, it's always a good thing to send someone a Kuhn floral arrangement, KuhnFlowers.com.
After consulting with several orthopedic specialists about my constant knee pain, I chose Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and Dr. Chris Swanson to handle my surgery. Their professionalism let me know this team was the one for me. The surgery was very successful, and if I ever have a future need, I'll continue to trust Southeast Orthopedic Specialists to take care of me.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, I'm Lauren Brooks with you live here at Deer Creek. RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters. We are here for the third annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic, and of course the auction with 70+ items is available right now, walkoffcharities.com, but only available until 4 p.m. today. That's when it ends, so make sure you hop on there and bid on items that you want. I'm going to take people behind the scenes to our group chat that began early this morning, And Mia, this is your text. What other sports, sorry college baseball and softball, LOL, and obviously Major League Baseball, do people watch the next 3 days? And obviously you're asking from the perspective of, are people going to, because there's no NBA, are people going to watch more WNBA?
Or anything in general, just because I mean, if anything, my biggest critique, I don't know why we're waiting until Thursday.
I think you and
to start the
everybody,
NBA Finals
you
and the
everybody
Stanley
else is
Cup.
like, well, the Stanley Cup, at least we understand, like, the one half of the bracket or whatever, the last team got in last night.
Yeah.
The NBA, it was last week, so that is, anyway, that's a good point. But I responded with, the answer is college baseball and college softball. That's what people are going to be watching over the next 3 days. And I'm from here, and so the southern regionality is, especially with college sports, from people that went to Florida State, Georgia, teams that are now active in the postseason. I get that. So then you decided to put out a poll.
Yeah, I put out a poll, and I made it not necessarily what did you watch this weekend, but what sports story did you find yourself following the most this weekend? With 619 votes cast, because Lauren Brooks did hack the poll.
I did not. That's why I took people behind the scenes.
30. I know. 36% said college baseball or college softball. And now, look, I'm surprised. And again, like you said, I believe this is a regionality thing, which is why Taylor also posted a similar poll to her account, knowing her background with everyone in Chicago who follows her for her Bears coverage, but also being from that neck of the woods.
Right, so I want to know how your poll's doing, too.
Right. I mean, I can tell you this, like, in the Midwest, outside of Nebraska, because obviously, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are, well, not so alive and well in the college baseball.
But they made the postseason.
They made the postseason. I could tell you, outside of Nebraska, I don't know anybody in the Midwest that's locked in on NCAA tournament baseball right now because their teams aren't there, and even the teams that are rivals of the school they went to are not playing.
Do you consider Oklahoma to be in the
No,
Midwest?
Oklahoma's not the Midwest.
Okay, what do you call that?
That's the Southwest. Yeah, that's like the Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Oklahoma.
That obviously Texas, Oklahoma, those.
Right, college softball, college
Certainly
baseball. No, I'm referring to the flyovers, which, I mean, Oklahoma's a flyover state, but in a different vein. I'm referring to everything from Ohio to Colorado, not including Colorado. Everything in the middle of that.
Okay.
And what I think was most fascinating, and that's why, Taylor, I'm curious what feedback you got, because I am going to read some of my submissions because they're hilarious, because a lot of you selected other reply, and your replies were hilarious. Yeah. The amount of folks who selected Stanley Cup playoffs. And now, granted, again, look, I understand we're beholden to whatever the TV rights and the TV groups decide. But yes, Lauren, one half of the bracket was decided last night with the Edmonton Oilers defeating the Dallas Stars. Game 1 isn't until Saturday. I get that the teams need to prepare.
That's less than a week, though. I feel like in the NBA, it feels like it's been so long.
Well, and they also, I don't think, expected both of those, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals, to wrap up as quickly as they did. Right, but I understand, you want the teams to prepare, take a second, refresh, respect to that, but they're missing a valuable marketing opportunity, and that's where I look at college baseball, which is going to dominate the TV schedule today. I look at college softball with the College Softball World Series. And yes, I do look at the WNBA. And for the first time, and yes, because of this rookie class and some of the notoriety and the names, like the fact that you can turn on a game on a Tuesday night in which there's no Stanley Cup, no NBA Finals, and people actually are even thinking of that as a possibility, that's where I say anyone that complained about, they can't compete with the NFL or the NBA calendar, and that's why they're playing in the summer. I'm like, dude, more leagues should be saying, I want to capitalize on this time of year because there is no NFL, because it's just the early goings of the Major League Baseball season.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because I think that also, in a way, they're expanding their season, too. They're making it longer, and maybe that's a little part of it. So now it's going into mid-June, depending how many games these go into, obviously, because the NBA is not starting until the 6th, and then the 8th, I believe, for NHL.
Stanley Cup, yep.
Yeah. So that is expanding their seasons deep into possibly early, late June. And we have this conversation when it comes to college football, how they have that big gap in between the season ending and then once all the bowl games really start happening, especially the major bowl games. And to me, it just it keeps people interested throughout that time, because now you are counting down. It gives a chance for some other, I kind of worded mine a little different. I just said a few days between now and the NBA NHL finals start, what are you watching the next few days? So I did put, and I did it. I was like, let me do mine too, because obviously half of mine are Jacksonville people. The other half are probably a little bit of all over, but a lot of Chicago, Midwest people. And so I put MLB as one of the choices on that. That is like almost 40% of the
Cubs fans.
Yeah. But at 29% behind that is college baseball and softball.
Yes.
And then behind that was other, and then WNBA was last with 12.9%.
And so there you go. So, I mean, perhaps I'm wrong, and that's okay, but I do think it's an interesting exercise nonetheless in the next 3 days that for once the NFL isn't controlling what we turn on our TV or what we want to turn onto our TV. I think it's an interesting opportunity for other sports to say, hey, can our calendars somehow coincide to where we can maximize on viewership numbers because we're not competing with the mammoth, boogeyman, if you may.
Yeah, so I think there's a few factors as to why people are watching college baseball and softball. It's the postseason, and so that is a little different than Major League Baseball. That is different than WNBA, and we'll certainly see what those numbers look like once they get to their postseason, especially if people have grown to love some of the, like you said, the rookies outside of Caitlin Clark and the one name that people know. But I think the other reason is, like I said, you have teams from here that are really good right now. Florida has been really good in softball and has been really good in baseball for years. We know that. But Georgia being in the postseason, Florida State having the resurgence. Florida State has always been really good, but last season wasn't really good under Link Jarrett in year one because he had to completely overhaul that roster, like we talked to Frank about earlier, Taylor. And so you've got, especially like I said, Georgia. Georgia hasn't been there. We looked it up last week. I looked it up or maybe 2 weeks ago. The last time Georgia had been in the postseason, I want to say it was like 2011. And so you've got an entire fan base that loves their football. Yeah. Clemson, too, in the postseason, loves their football. And once they get a taste of whether it's men's basketball or whether it's baseball, how much fun it can be, they realize, like, Oklahoma City in the College World Series is an absolute blast. And then following along from the regionals, well, really the conference tournaments, then the regionals, then super regionals will be announced soon, and then going to Omaha for the College World Series. Like, if you haven't experienced it before, all of a sudden, if Notre Dame
you have
had
interest
made
in it,
right,
they realize it's fun to be
one year.
It's fun to be a spring or a winter sports school.
I was about to say, by the interaction, by the comments on mine and the interaction within the comments, you can tell that if a person has a team in the college baseball or softball, they're watching. If not, they're not watching.
And even then, our dogs out there, our dog Heeligans, if you're a Georgia fan, 641-1010. I know that most of you know Georgia baseball is pretty darn good this year, but I am genuinely intrigued because it is kind of a new novelty. How many are actually interested in it?
I think a ton of Georgia fans are locked in because they do know, like Florida fans with Jack Caglione, even if you're a casual fan. When you're a Georgia fan right now, Charlie Condon has 36 home runs.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even if you weren't paying that close of attention, you're going to jump on the postseason bandwagon and start following. So quick updates when it comes to this. And then, Mia, do we have you have your own
this
booklet
is
for
I don't know what I received. Shout out to Kathy Hurlbert again. We're live at Deer Creek for the Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic. I think I received, it's in a box.
Oh yeah, this is for your upcoming golf game.
This is why you watch on the MyBookie Digital Studio, folks.
There we go.
All right, where's Dewey? I'm ready. I'm gonna go break 100. Let him know I'm ready. I'll meet him at Windsor Park. Let's do it.
All right, so for people who missed it earlier, Florida softball, that has been delayed. It should be starting any moment now, so we'll keep you up to date over the last few minutes of our show with that when it comes to Florida taking on Oklahoma. Florida in baseball, Florida beat Nebraska 5-2 on Friday, lost to Oklahoma State 7-1 on Saturday, then beat Nebraska yesterday 17-11, then defeated Oklahoma State late last night 5-2. Brandon Neely was absolutely just impressive. He threw 5.2 innings of scoreless relief with a career-high 11 strikeouts. Jack Caglione now, by the way, Cags has 31 home runs. Florida takes on Oklahoma State at 3 p.m. today. That one on ESPNU, so I'll be watching that a little bit later. Florida State baseball defeated Stetson Friday 7-2. UCF Saturday 5-2, and UCF yesterday 12-4. So Florida State wins the Tallahassee Regional and advances to the Super Regional. They'll face the winner of Oklahoma-UConn. For all you FSU fans, that game is tonight at 8:06. Georgia beat Army 8-7 on Friday. UNC Wilmington on Saturday 11-2, and yesterday beat Georgia Tech 8-6. Georgia won the Athens Regional. They advanced to the Super Regional to face NC State. And the complete dates and times for the Super Regional matchups will be announced, like I said, soon once they get through all of these regionals. The best of 3 series will be either June 7th through the 9th or June 8th through 10th. So lots of stuff to be following. How was your Jumbo Shrimp game, by the way, Friday night?
Oh, it was fantastic, even though they lost. But
they've been on a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, after the 5-game win streak. We're going to blame that on our good friend John O'Leary, though, who is now 0 for 5 in attendance at local area sporting events so far this year. Don't bring him to games with you, folks, if you want the home team to win. But no, I actually was just going to say, I posed it to the Heeligans on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. If you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, have you been watching baseball? We already have 2 responses. Both said, huge dog fan, so proud of my dogs, proud of the baseball team. I haven't watched a single game. And so just wanted to throw that out there. And with that said, I'm not just throwing barbs today because a round of applause, RJ, one of our Southeast Georgia, Northeast Florida own, getting the call up, will transfer from Chipola, committed to Georgia. Knox Bennett, Pierce County grad,
love it,
brother of Stetson Bennett, will be playing baseball for Georgia next year. Shout out to Knox.
Can I just real quick tell you how much people miss football, because the amount of people in my things that are just that said just watching NFL Classic games or watching previous games from last season. I was like, I love it.
I want to know what's this G2 winning IEM and then it's a $100,000 R6 roller tourney. Some of you people, I want to know where you're finding some of these sports. It's fascinating because
I got a few NASCAR comments on mine.
I got a couple Champions League final too. I got IEM.
Real Madrid.
What is IEM Dallas? I received multiple replies. I want to know what it is.
You'll have to Google it.
I don't think it's IndyCar, although I got a couple for that too. And a couple people did say UFL, which I didn't expect to say. And yes, my apologies also to the Canadian Open, the French Open, and of course those of you who were locked in on UFC 302.
There you go. All right, we've got one segment to go here live at Deer Creek for the 3rd annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust. Helmets and heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda dealers. Catch the summer vibe.
Beautiful city. I'm talking about the beach.
Summertime is the right time for 1010XL.
Fascinating people. The beach.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
June is Men's Health Month. I'm going to Ackerman Cancer Center this week for a total body MRI scan. Since the scan covers the bladder, kidneys, and prostate, the most common cancer areas for men. Be proactive with your health this month. Call Ackerman Cancer Center and learn more about total body MRI.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow, okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The Duck?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Hey Jaguar fans, I'm Donovan Darius, former 10-year NFL All-Pro Jacksonville Jaguar safety. I'm hosting my 8th annual youth football tackling technique camps all throughout Jacksonville. With over 50 skills and drills, these young athletes will learn everything it takes from me and my coaches to be effective on and off the field. This camp is for kids ages 7 to 14 for June 18th, June 20th, and June 24th. To sign up your kid, go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com. DariusNextLevelTraining.com.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances, that's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
New faces on the field for the first time in team.
There are no shortcuts, man.
OTA coverage is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Up, quick feet!
On 1010XL.
How many points are there on the Statue of Liberty? The answer coming up.
If you haven't stayed on top of your coverage responsibilities for your family's home, you really should review it annually. Renew with confidence or call us and let Southern Oak answer your questions. We'll save you money.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 7 points on the crown of the Statue of Liberty, referencing all 7 continents.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
The 2024 season schedule is here, and so are single game tickets. Don't miss your favorite matchups, and be at the bank when the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL.
In the end zone, touchdown!
Don't miss a moment of the action during our exciting 30th season, and grab your single game tickets today. Lock in seats for your favorite matchup now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL. Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I think the quick thing that I took from today, if we're talking about OTAs now and we're getting into this part of the year where now we're getting a little bit more than we have between rookie minicamp and OTAs. We'll be soon approaching that mandatory time. And I think for me, it's just going to be the wide receivers and how much they really add and how quickly they can add, because we've talked a lot about, the loss of Calvin Ridley and what that means for not only the Jags, but now obviously division rival too. But I think not just the number of what they keep, that 6 or 7, but also how much this factors into how much it opens the offense and how much it can help Trevor Lawrence.
Just send it. Don't give an F. Just send it. Also, yes, the Caitlin Clark discourse rolls on, but I successfully didn't mention it on this program outside of the conversation surrounding what are you watching over the next 3 days?
Yeah, I'll say my biggest takeaway is watching Trevor Lawrence at these OTAs develop into a true franchise quarterback as far as the leadership part. Being able to see videos from reporters that were there while the special teams training was going on, and Trevor's working off to the side with Gabe Davis after practice, and finally getting to see him on the practice field was excellent today. I think when we talk about the trajectory for this franchise, it is crazy that a 24-year-old holds the keys to the kingdom. The entire franchise, and whether it's going to become a team that is perennially in the playoffs or not, pretty much all hinges on one person with an excellent set of skills, but who is just 24 years old.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about him all the time. He did meet with the media after practice today, and we'll let you hear those thoughts tomorrow. Mia, biggest takeaways from your availability session with Doug Peterson this morning?
Yes, an unfortunate situation, certainly with David White Jr., the West Side grad, although it does sound like he will be able to be stashed. And to your point about Trevor, excuse me, not Taylor. Yeah, Doug.
What do we want to say about me?
Doug was talking about Taylor at all. You didn't know about that? About Trevor. I thought the conversation surrounding Brett Favre and him not being the biggest hoorah guy, but still being a great leader, I think that that's a very important comparison and temperament to discuss and compare to when we talk about Trevor Lawrence, when we discuss and compare it to these other quarterbacks who maybe that's more their MO. But to be frank, and anyone driving around can agree with this, you can tell when someone's faking it. And there's no need for him to try to be someone he's not. And that goes for every member of that football team. That goes for everyone at 1010XL. Everyone has a different role to play. You can be a leader even if you're not in your face screaming at people. If you're simply doing your job, holding people accountable, maybe it is more of that one-on-one interaction. That's where he thrives as a leader as opposed to hyping up a group of 20 people.
By the way, once again, for Florida fans out there, baseball and softball should be playing opposite each other. The game is supposed to start at noon for softball. It was originally then pushed back to 1:36, and now it's been pushed back again to 3:06. Now that's assuming also, that's Eastern, that's assuming that baseball does start on time when Florida takes on Oklahoma State in baseball. Florida takes on Oklahoma in softball. First pitch for baseball is supposed to be at 3 o'clock today, and of course that's, again, in the postseason for a trip to the Super Regional. What am I supposed to do with myself, Taylor?
I know.
I only have one laptop.
It also sucks for these players that every year it's this. Every year it's like pushed back and postponed and delayed
it's
and over and over
better
again.
for Florida because Florida played late into the night. I mean, it was against
some
Oklahoma
may
State,
be
so
like,
it's
hey, some
same
extra
team,
rest.
So it's not really that, but yeah.
But if you're about to start a game and then they're like, never mind, you have to wait another hour, how much that does for all the warm-ups and stretching and everything you just did to pause it and then have to redo it in an hour or two. I know it probably has to be frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, Florida State and Georgia, they just get to sit back and wait for Super Regionals. But yeah. And then, so Mia, once again, your conversation with Dewey Wingert, for people who missed that earlier in the program, that'll be available on all social channels if it's not already.
Yep, it'll be available later this afternoon, the 1010XL Jaguars channel. And since you'll be hearing promotions for this in the coming weeks, yes, you have the 1010XL YouTube channel. That is where you find the MyBookie Digital Studio, where we live stream our shows. If you are looking for specific Jaguars content, I want you to search and subscribe. Search, subscribe, 1010XL Jaguars. If you are looking for Gators content, your Gators podcast, clips about the Gators, practice footage, 1010XL Gators. Same thing for you Knowles fans. Yes, it is coming, the 1010XL Seminoles channel. I want you to find that bad boy on YouTube, subscribe, and you can sign up for alerts. And every time that we have some sort of video content from each of those camps, you will have it right at your fingertips.
I like the competition between Florida and Florida State.
Hey, if you want to make it a competition, we certainly can.
Which channel will have the most subscribers?
Yeah, if you want to do that, we can absolutely do that.
All right, we know in addition to us, XL Primetime was out at OTA, so they're following us here live at Deer Creek. And again, the bidding ends at 4 o'clock, so make sure you get your bids in on walkoffcharities.com. They will take you up until 4 o'clock when that auction ends. So don't go anywhere. XL Primetime does come up next from 2 to 4, and then the Frangie Show with Frank and myself comes up after that with Hayes off on vacation today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talk, and we will talk to you tomorrow.